Hello, everyone. In this session, we're focusing on Linux file system. And this is the first recording I'm focusing on um, how to install first the VM of a Linux operating system. And this is going to be our LPIC1 course that I'm focusing. It's similar to LPIC1, but it's like a crash course that focusing on some commands that you need and to prepare yourself for LPIC exam. So, because we should prepare a lab, we should have these commands on a Linux operating system. I just give you one thing is that you can go under Linux VM images. This one is very easy step that you can install Linux operating system. So then you go under this link. So there are many distribution here that you can use it. But the distribution that we are using is Ubuntu. So that you see that this one is the latest version that we have when I'm recording this video. So usually we're using LTS version. So you can download this one. So there are two versions, VMware VirtualBox. So I'm gonna use VMware because usually VMware is gonna be easier than VirtualBox. You know that VirtualBox is free. So if you're comfortable with VirtualBox, you can download the VirtualBox. And then under here, you can download this VM images. Now, how does it work? This is like a package, prepare package that we have on their Linux operating system. And that means that you don't need to go step by step of installation. The installation is done before, so then you just extract this package and you use it under your VMware. So you see that it's downloading this package. So in the meantime, I can tell you that about the VMware. So uh, this is like how we do it. Like we're going to file and open the extracted file. So you're not creating new virtual machine because this is prepare file. So then you go here and you create your um, VM. So I just pause the video once Um, we download the file. I just continue the uh, video. All right, so we have the file now. So that's this file is a 7-zip file. I'm gonna open the file. So basically, I'm gonna create a folder here. I call it Ubuntu. That's version 20. So I'm gonna put this file here. And then if you have this software 7-zip file, you see that Um, sometimes it happens that you don't have this um, software, so then you should go to 7-zip. Just Google 7-zip, this software, 7-zip, and then you can download it from here. But I've already installed that one, so I'm gonna come back here, and then I'm gonna extract it here. So the output of this file is gonna be a VMware file that I can open it under my VMware workstation. So I go under File, Open, and then Ubuntu here, Ubuntu version 20. I'm gonna open this file. So this is like the basic configuration that you have. If you want to add more CPU or memory, you can edit from here, but I'm gonna continue with this configuration. I copied and the Ubuntu is going to be ready. You see, that's very straightforward and you don't need to do installation process. But if you are interested in installation of Ubuntu, you can go to Ubuntu website and there is like a lot of documents over there. Also, you can find it on YouTube how to install Ubuntu from scratch. This is a very easy way. Username Ubuntu, password is Ubuntu, and then um, Ubuntu. Yeah. So then you log into Ubuntu and we're gonna work on this operating system for whole labs. So you can keep this Ubuntu until the end of this course. And every time that we are doing a lab, actually, we are focusing on a subject, and then we do that lab. So here we're talking about file system and Linux operating system. So you know that um, Linux operating system compared to other operating system is based on the files. Everything is file, and you give a permission to files, and that files actually sometimes you execute the files. Process also is part of the files, and there are many parts of a Linux operating system you should see, and this part of operating system is based on the files. So if I want to say simply, if you look at, for example, if I want to bring terminal, so you can bring terminal from here and then just type terminal. Okay, so terminal basically is somewhere that you can write your command. And before doing any command, make sure that you have an internet connection, ping 4224. You can try that you have an internet connection. Also, you can verify from here. If you right click and settings, you see that that's NAT. So then you can reach to the internet. Also, you can from here, you see that that's your wired connection. And this is your wired connection. If it is not connected, you can come here and then click on settings. So I got the IP address from my NAT. And this is the IP address that I have. I have it here. So in some cases, if it doesn't work, then you can turn it off, turn it on. You see that that icon will change, and then that means that you have an internet connection. So you can verify it with pinging uh, Google DNS server. So I clear my screen. So you see that's the Linux operating system, and is a Ubuntu, is the Debian version. We're gonna learn that we have different distribution, like CentOS distribution and Debian distribution. This is very common distribution that people usually use it. And if I bring this one, distro watch. So if you look at distro watch, this is like you can watch the distributions, which one is the first one. So you see that Linux, MX, Linux, and then Mint. And then we have Debian number 4 and Ubuntu number 6. These are distributions that we have for Linux operating system. If you just scroll on, you see that there are many distributions for Linux. And this is like some of them are Debian based, some of them are based on sent to us. Um, so you see that also they are ranked based on the user past last 6 months. You can just look at like year 2022 and see which one was the first one. Okay, so this is like a ranking of this website. Anyway, we just talk about file system. So let's look at some file systems that we have on the Linux operating system. Like one of the things that you can do on a Linux is the commands. So we have different commands. For example, ls, it will list the items here. So you see that under this directory, I have desktop document, music, picture, public templates, and videos. But if I do ls underline proc, so that brings uh, information about the system, the process. You see that the process numbers is listed here. And each of these, like a process number, is a folder. So if I like go to, for example, CD means change the directory, proc, and number 1. You see that if I ls here, there are some files also under this directory. Some of them I cannot read that because I don't have a permission. So let's look at the other directory. So if I want to change my directory, I can, for example, go see part of this file. For example, cat is for showing the information in the output. So you can look at, for example, proc CPU info. That's the CPU information. So it gives you like information about CPU, how many cores you have, what is the architecture. So you see that's my CPU information, which is listed here. Um, so let me also maximize this one. Okay, so then you can see better. Then under proc, also there are some information regarding your memory. So like if I come back, if we want to go to upper level, you just uh, write cd dot dot. It goes to upper level. And here you can do ls, list the folders again. So if you do cd proc and then we want to cat memory info. So you see that memory info is basically should be here under M memory info. Okay, so I'm gonna show it under here. So you can also use tab when you're just writing part of the file name, and then you can press tab. It will complete the rest of that for you. So that's why in Linux operating system, one of your hands always should be on tab. So you press tab to complete the text for you. So you see that that's my memory. That's the output of a memory information, which is on the proc folder, right? Proc folder. So I'm still on proc folder. So this is like what we can see. So also here you see that I can use the CPU info, CMD line. I can see stats. I can see uptime. So if you look at uptime, also is here. So cat uptime. That shows the uptime of your operating system. So let's look at, I'm gonna come up to upper folder cd colon cd dot dot, and then look, I do ls to list the name of folders and files I have. So ls usually lists that. So if I do for ls, now look at this folder, sys. Basically, sys is a system information and file systems. So look at the sys folder, and we have here some information regarding to blocks, class devices, and power. So this is also a very important part of the operating system. So you see that we have udev, which is responsible for uh, managing devices nodes. And also we have here dev, that's for devices that you're connecting to this machine. And also we have um, some part of that is like LS-USB, so that like what type of USB we have here. So then you can list that USB list. So let's look at um, the other folders also. So if I come up to the upper level and LS here, then we have here devices. So that shows this directory actually. If you have any hardware is attached to your operating system, like USBs is going to be under here, devices. So look at CD devices. So I'm going to change the directory. LS, there are different medias, TTYs, and also triple Ps listed here, right? So if you want to list the USBs that you have, so I am I can come up LSUSB. So it will show the list of USBs that you have. You have under bus 001, you have this USB 2 and virtual USB hub, virtual mouse. That that's like USBs that you have here. If you want to see the list of hardware, LS hardware, like hardware which is attached to operating system, operating system work with this hardware. So LS hardware, so SCSIs like CPU, RAM, adapters are going to be listed here. So you see that that's a list of hardwares that we have for this computer. If you want to see PCI buses in the system, um, so you can write like LSPCI. I will show the PCI information of this machine. And so there are some kernel modules that you want to show the information of kernel modules. So you can use ls mod. So then it will show the kernels module. So what type of modules you have and how many of them, like the size of that module, which one is used or which one is not used. Um, so this is like file systems that we have in Linux operating system. As I mentioned, so you can just use CD to change your directory. Usually here, if you look at ls, okay, then we have home for each user. So CD/home, and then there are different users. You can use tab if you don't know which one which user you have. Then you can complete it by Ubuntu. It will be completed by Ubuntu. So you have here Ubuntu user, right? So this is like home of a user. You see that this tilt sign is the home of that user. This slash is actually root of operating system. So if you look at ls, my home page of Ubuntu, it has desktop document and pictures and a lot of folder here. So then also, if you want to switch the users, for example, if you want to be administrator or root, usually this dollar sign shows that you don't have lots of permission like root. But if you want to be root, you just write and type here sudo -s. Look, it will change this one to pound sign, and that pound sign means that you are now root. So basically, this video, we learn about some file systems that we have in Linux operating system, how to switch it between the folders, how to make the user as a root users, and we became familiar with different uh, type of like home folders of each users and also roots folder of operating system. I hope this has been informative and thanks for watching.